it, and appreciate the opportunity to share. So yes, Artius, it is Latin. It means holistic and perfect, and thought it just reflects the mission we have to just provide the best holistic care that we can. And I am located in Great Falls, Virginia, and so we'll just get right into it. Okay, how was everyone's week? It's Friday, TGIF, and looking at these pictures, I wonder if anyone can relate to any of these photos. Has someone been so tired and overworked this week that they feel like the gentleman who with his head on his desk, or the lady to his on the bottom left corner? Have you had to worry about a lot of things this week? And the gentleman in the top right corner, are you stressed out about the uncertainty of the future? And then the lady on the bottom corner, I know I can relate to that one, being a wife and a mother and also working. There's a lot of hats that we all have to juggle. So the common denominator in all of this is that there is some stress that we all have to deal with. And how does stress affect the rest of our body? So when we have stress, it does increase adrenaline and cortisol levels in our system and depletes our nutrient stores. So basic vitamins, and our body needs to mobilize those stores for energy to combat the stress, and it compromises our immune system. And this can lead to low-grade chronic inflammation if you have chronic stress through daily struggles and things like that. And the body then has to fight the infection, repair and recover. And what happens to that? You can get some tissue and cellular damage, and it just repeats the whole cycle over again. And I did not make this slide. I got this from the internet. But I thought it was a good schematic of just how stress affects our bodies. And being a former Army doctor, I also related to this slide and schematic. So our immune system are like our silent soldiers. They protect our body as we move around. And what can we do to support the troops in our body and support our immune system? So let me just talk briefly about the different components of wellness. And we'll start with sleep. I'll touch a little bit on hydration, nutrition, exercise, and mental health. And I'm sure a lot of the people attending have heard this before. There is no secret, there's no change, but us hearing about this often, I'm still struggling with these components of wellness every day, making sure that I get it into my routine. And, we're all in this together, trying to achieve wellness. Okay, restorative sleep. I put this picture of my daughter and some of her friends because I don't know if anyone, if you remember when you were a child or with kids that you've encountered, when they sleep, nothing can wake them up. It's like they're a sack of potatoes. Like, man, if as an adults, we can just sleep that soundly, and it comes naturally to them. As we get older, we have to be more intentional with obtaining that restorative sleep. And so trying to obtain a consistent sleep routine. I found YouTube a great resource for free videos on Yin Yoga, as well as other things. But there's a couple of Yin Yoga videos that can be 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or longer if you have the time. But if you don't have the time, a simple 15-minute Yin Yoga for sleep that you can do in bed just helps your body settle down and de-stress. There's multiple benefits to Yin Yoga to include just stretching out the fascia and improving lymphatic circulation. But that is just a nice, simple, free thing that you can do at home. And they also have meditations on YouTube as well that you can do after that. Or if there's different intentions or affirmations that you can say to yourself before you go to bed. I am going to sleep soundly tonight. My body is calming down. Things of that nature, just to your body hearing your voice and you saying that all leads to promoting your intentions for restorative sleep. And Dr. Shah will, with her her talk after mine will probably go into that in more depth. Some of the things that the vitamins and minerals that get depleted when we're under chronic stress includes magnesium. Intracellular magnesium gets depleted, and why that's important is while calcium helps our muscles contract, magnesium is what allows our muscle cells to actually relax. And so Epsom salt baths, which is magnesium sulfate, you can even do 2 cups of Epsom salts and soak for 20 minutes in a nice warm bath, or if you don't want to even mess with a bath, just put it in the foot basin and soak your feet for 20 minutes. You'll still gain some benefit from the Epsom salts that way. Tradition we have in our household is golden milk or chamomile tea. If you've ever heard of golden milk, when you drink it warm, it has turmeric in it, ginger, nutmeg, and cinnamon. And I use coconut milk as well instead of dairy milk. And warm that up, and it's very calming on the stomach. Turmeric is a great anti-inflammatory, just decreases inflammation before you go to sleep. And you can also do lavender aromatherapy, which is nice and simple to do, or just take a whiff of some lavender essential oil as you lay down to rest. And I put melatonin and L-Theanine. Do you necessarily have to take those? Not necessarily. That's if the other stuff doesn't work. However, as we get older, our body does not produce as much melatonin as it did in the earlier years. So some of us do have to supplement it. Melatonin is the main component of the hormone that regulates our sleep-wake cycle. And so doing that, having that steady time can help with your consistent sleep routine. L-Theanine is nice, a nice supplement that has been shown to decrease cortisol levels and just to help calm your sympathetic system down before you go to sleep. So that's all I have for sleep. Let's go to the next one. Water. So hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. A rule of thumb I tell my patients is, your weight in pounds divided by 2 is probably a good gauge of how much water intake in ounces that you should be taking a day. If you drink a lot of caffeine, I recommend adding another bottle of water per 1 cup of caffeine that you drink, just to make sure you're hydrated. I might have mentioned earlier, having a bottle of water at your bedside that you drink first thing in the morning is even more effective for waking your body up and helping you get a good start to your day. And nutrition. So there are a lot of anti-inflammatory diets out there, and you can get pretty complicated of, avoiding soy, gluten, dairy, and lectin is a big one, but it can be costly to have to adhere to those diets, or very complicated. My military background, right? I like to keep things simple, silly. And so berries are hot, have a good anti-inflammatory effect on your body, as well as getting the colorful veggies in builds the amount of phytonutrients and antioxidants in your system that all support your immune system. And then bone broth. I love bone broth in the sense it helps with there's a couple of studies out there that show that bone broth also stimulates your immune system, but it also decreases inflammation in your gut and can help with anything like leaky gut, which a lot of people suffer from if they have chronic stress and inflammation or chronic disease. So 1 cup of bone broth is helpful a day to help stimulate that and decrease inflammation. Most of your immune cells are produced in the gut. So happy gut, happy body. And then exercise. You don't have to hit the gym 5 days a week for an hour because, some people have time for that. I personally don't. I got my 5 minutes of HIIT, high intense interval training this morning. And that was enough for me. I barely finished those 5 minutes. Tabata is another quick form of the high intense interval training if you choose to do that. And there are low impact modifications you can do. So instead of jumping, you can just go on your toes. And when you do your jumps or jumping jacks. So there are a lot of modifications depending on how stress or how much arthritis you have in your knees and things like that. But really just moving, and even just walking 30 minutes a day, first thing in the morning, a brisk walk is enough to stimulate your metabolism, as well as improve your, just stimulate your body to get moving. And any movement is good. We don't have to get complicated, but walking outside is great. Walking in the forest bathing is better, but you have to drive there. So, and last, mental health. So let's start with the people lying on the grass, reading a book. You know, what are you reading? What are you reading? Are you reading something that can be helpful to read? Personal development books, anything positive that uplifts you is good to read right before bed or during the day, but keeps your mind, with all the negative that we get bombarded with the news, with our environment. Inputting positive, we can help dilute the negative that our minds have to deal with. And that's the best way, really, because you can't stop the negative per se. We have to live life. But inputting the positive, you have control over that. And what you say too, focus, you know, you may have to be intentional about focusing on the positive and being optimistic. It doesn't come naturally to most folks. And the left, you know, socialize. That's why I have these are two good friends of mine. And, you know, having your support and doing things now that we're able to, we can go out to a restaurant and meet friends, or even, you know, just meet outside and go for a walk together is very good medicine. And then the laughter, the top right corner, is very key. There was a study that was published in 2009 that showed that laughter for 20 minutes a day was enough to stimulate your immune system to work better. And that's just enough to ingest a good sitcom, you know, and laugh out loud for those 20 minutes. It increases the dopamine in your system and just helps your mood. So that's it for mental health. And this is my daughter doing her meditation. And so I find this is a good segue for your mental health as well to Dr. Shah's talk. And I'd like to close with this. Hopefully this has been helpful for everyone as a good reminder of things that we can do in our own lifestyle. It doesn't take a big effort to move the needle, but a little bit every day, and little tweaks in our daily routine can help us achieve our long-term success in wellness. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Dr. Babcock? I guess not.
Quiet crowd today.
You can unmute yourself if you have a question, if you don't want to type. All right, Misha?
Well, so I have a couple of real brief updates because I don't want to take a lot of time. In short, sounds like US is doing really well. You will probably have seen the trends. This is a pretty exciting week for George Washington University. This is the first week since pandemic we have no patients in ICU. So it's actually a fundamental achievement because we had continuously, and which also means that there's no deaths since several weeks actually now from the COVID in ICU, so in a hospital. So that's I had to speak about that. Of course, it's a wonderful news. Surprisingly, there are several countries in the world where there is a very quick surge. England, Russia, Argentina, and Brazil. It's not really clear exactly what's going on. Those countries do have pretty, well, to some degree, a significant vaccination campaigns, so it's not very clear. Okay, so I want to talk about a couple of things. I know that for a lot of you who don't have young kids, it's not a big deal, but I'm still going to cover it. Remember, I was pretty cautious about the vaccines for kids. I guess I always intuitively sense stuff. So there's a pretty dramatic number of cases of heart inflammation in pediatric population after the vaccine. Primarily young boys between ages of 12 and 16. There's over 230 cases now. It's a very uncommon and unusual condition. Thank God nobody died, but there are multiple boys who are incapacitated because the heart inflammation, at least during the process, can lead to pretty significant shortness of breath and a heart failure. And also there's two forms of inflammation. There's one actual muscle inflammation called myocarditis, and also pericarditis, or inflammation of the sac around the heart that cause accumulation of the fluid. Nobody really knows why that is. CDC is investigating. They have not recommended stopping the vaccines for now, but I hear from my internal channels that this is most likely coming in the next couple of days or a week or so, because they have to. It's a pretty dramatic complication, actually. It doesn't lead to deaths, but it cannot be ignored. And the numbers are, we're not talking about a couple of episodes. So the current case load is over 200, with expected amount of cases that just naturally should occur should be less than 100. So it's a pretty significant change. So I just wanted to mention that in case you do hear it. It is real. It's not a hoax. It is a formally acknowledged complication by CDC. So I thought I'd bring it up. And there was one other item. It'll come to me in a second. Yeah, well, and I see there's questions, so maybe we should just go to that, and then what the third thing that I wanted to talk about will come to me. What is L-Theanine? I can answer that, or Mary can answer, whatever.
Dr. Babcock answered it in the chat.
Good.
But if you want to elaborate, you can go ahead.
Yeah, it's L-Theanine is used as a natural calming molecule that does not have a lethargy associated with it. In fact, it's actually concentrating, so it's actually not necessarily anti-anxiety. It's actually a mild stimulant, unusually speaking, but it calms down anxiety, and it helps the brain to concentrate. And that's why when you drink a lot of green tea, you don't get, even if you're extremely sensitive to caffeine, most people actually do not get buzzed up as you would from coffee, because L-Theanine balances nearly completely effective caffeine. Thanks, Sue Ellen. It's both Pfizer and Moderna. I don't know the difference as to which vaccine better or worse. So that's that. And by the way, we have an interesting situation in my household. My 14-year-old asking me to vaccinate himself, so I will be vaccinating him next week because that's what he wants. It's actually peer pressure. There's 2 points. There's several of his friends that are upset that he's not vaccinated. And we both going to same martial arts school, and everybody else is vaccinated there except for him and one other. It's a small school. So everybody's not wearing masks, and he has to by the way the rules are set up. And so he's also upset about that. And the younger one doesn't want it. So I said, I am actually, because of this, I'm not going to enforce, I'm just going to follow their lead. Those of you who remember me talking about it a couple of weeks ago, I expressed a very strong opinion that I was not even sure that the kids should be vaccinated. But that's my opinion. It's not necessarily common opinion, just like I had a strong opinion that all adults should be vaccinated, but for kids. Anyway, Mary, do you want to add anything about L-Theanine? That was a good question. It's one of those substances right now that's probably really good for a lot of us.
I don't have anything more to add. They do have a lot of supplements out there where you can get L-Theanine in like 50 milligrams. Seems to be 50 to 100 milligrams seems to be helpful for the ultimate calming effect. But that's, I think, doing everything else without taking the supplement that I mentioned for sleep, and the melatonin, if you have to take a supplement, is a good first line, and then L-Theanine later.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Kogan, I have a question which will take me time to type. With the young men who get the heart problem from the vaccination, what kind of treatment is provided for them?
So it's a great question. So both of these conditions, inflammation in the heart, often is not treated because the treatments are usually, unless the condition progresses, and then usually it's either steroids or some other anti-inflammatory medications. It's thought to be an autoimmune reaction, but because it's so new, I don't think I have not seen yet any formal scientific data stating what exactly going on, what are the sort of, but assumption is it's because it's an autoimmune inflammatory response, then steroids and anti-inflammatories would work. We can arguably discuss natural anti-inflammatories as well, but I think that's beyond today's conversation.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, I remember what the third thing was. It has nothing to do about COVID, but I figured sometimes important medical news should be mentioned. And it's okay if we're not going to have time to go into it, but so you all know that my main specialty is geriatrics, and those of you who've been following cognitive decline or Alzheimer's world, of course, have heard that there is a major, extremely controversial FDA approval of a new medication that dissolves the plaques. It's a $56,000 a year infusion therapy that's going to have $56,000 times 2, so over $100,000 a year annual cost that is currently being evaluated for insurance coverage. So we yesterday, as university in memory clinic, decided we will absolutely not prescribe this drug due to the harm and due to the fact that there is no documented evidence of benefit to any broad population. Very narrow, primarily white, primarily female in the very early stages of Alzheimer's we felt is too narrow of a scope of a practice. And also 10% of intracranial bleeding to us was not an acceptable complication. And even though no one died, but multiple people end up being basically debilitated for the rest of their life from the bleeding. So stay tuned. For those of you who feel that they have someone who they want to discuss this with, there is a good chance that Georgetown Memory Clinic will be using this medication. So that's another reason why we decided not to use it as our system, because we know that there's going to be a respectful clinic in the town that will be providing this treatment. The reason they probably going to provide it, they were part of the trial, so they already have full setup, and we were part of the trial, but not in the same way. So we were not providing infusions, we were providing us imaging for the trial. So that's different. We actually have not had a setup for the trial itself. Stay tuned. If anybody interested more about my opinion on this, you can look up at my talk on Radio Sputnik a couple of days ago, where I discussed this in about half an hour and expressed very emotional, strong opinion how Bredesen protocol and other lifestyle changes that have dramatically benefits for this condition are completely ignored, cost fraction of this cost, and continuously ignored, and those providers like myself who feel like that this medication got approved just to please the Alzheimer's Association and the drug industry, the pharmaceutical industry, we feel very upset. So stay tuned for more. And I'll stop with that. And I think there's another 1 or 2 questions. Let's do those and we'll be right on time. L-Theanine is one of few products that I feel is easy enough. So I don't necessarily think you have to have the best available brand. Although I would say that in my experience, liposomal form is better. So I do like liposomal form. And you can buy it in you know, of course, I always recommend buying everything in a professional dispensaries, but you know, if you have your compounding pharmacy, they will definitely have that. All right. Do you feel it's safe to get massage? Okay, great question. So, as you know, as of now, we are seeing that, you know, people who vaccinated are allowed not to have masks even in facilities. I believe that most of the facilities are going to be continuously using masks as an internal policy. I feel strongly that everything we used to do if you vaccinated is now safe to do. I do say that just wear a mask if you're worried, or if you simply don't know who's in the room, right? So if you're in a place where there are other people who may walk in, you don't know who they are, I would say wear your mask. But I think massage is one of those things you can get it while you're wearing the mask, and you should assume, or you can ask if your massage therapist is vaccinated, but you probably should be assuming that they are, since they work in a healthcare facility. Yeah, and yeah, all of our manual services are back. Acupuncture is just through the roof. We are restarting Reiki, as well as massage and everything else. So yes, I think it's important for our psychological well-being to get all these things restarted, because yeah, I'm honestly worried about a lot of these services, that many of those offices are probably gone. Like, unfortunately, we had this wonderful tiny dry cleaner office, and they closed, and they were right in Tacoma Park. So I hope that, you know, we'll see some of these businesses coming back, but I think for some of them, the impact is permanent. Do you think that resignations of 3 FDA independent board members of the decision? No, I don't think so. It won't change anything. Sorry. I'm very skeptical about this. I knew the drug would get approved. And because it was coming, it was sort of in our internal conversations, we knew this would happen. They're not gonna disapprove it. What will happen likely, they're gonna look at the post-marketing data, and eventually, of course, I think they will stop approval, but it will take a year or two before it'll fall off the market. And likely because of legal complications, not because of the approval or disapproval. All right, and Mary had a good point. And thanks, Mary, for putting your number. If you want to put your website there in the chat, that would be great too. And I think with that,
so with that, we're going to
Shah.
Yes. And Dr. Shah is in private practice. She specializes in integrative, holistic, and family medicine with osteopathic manipulative treatment.
Great. Well, it's lovely to be here with you all, and thanks for having me. Great information from Dr. Babcock and Dr. Kogan, of course. So I'm just trying to slow down. I had a busy morning myself. So before we meditate, I wanted to share my experience as an osteopath practicing in the DC area, especially during this last 16 months. And in case you don't know, an osteopath is an osteopathic physician, a DO, who practices osteopathy, a type of body work aimed at treating medical conditions, relieving pain, and reducing stress. And I would say that my practice has seen a really interesting time in the last few weeks in particular. As more people are getting vaccinated and our local number of COVID cases have been dropping, people are starting to feel a sense of relief. We're not completely out of the woods yet, but we are hopeful that the worst is over and behind us, and that we can start to slowly move forward. But what I've noticed in my practice in the last few weeks is actually the opposite of relief. I am seeing a lot of folks in crisis mode. A lot of my patients feel more pain, they're very fatigued, and a lot of them are experiencing mental health issues. And when I put my hands on their bodies, I actually am feeling more tension and more inflammation. So today, this meditation will be addressing that tension and inflammation. So what do I think is happening? I think that we're starting to deal with the aftermath of this worldwide event. I call this the letdown, where the stressful period is over, but our bodies are struggling to regain balance. And hopefully you were one of the lucky people who had all your friends and family safe, but every single one of us had our lives uprooted. And we heard stories and we saw the news and watching places all over the world with immense suffering and a record number of deaths. So we have to remember that this affects not only our bodies, but also our minds and our souls. And it especially affects our nervous systems. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. For most of us, our sympathetic nervous systems were turned on during the pandemic, and that's our fight or flight response. So it was as if we were being chased by a tiger through the forest. And we're not supposed to be in fight or flight for long periods of time. Our bodies prefer the parasympathetic state, which is the rest and digest mode. We should be relaxed, digesting a meal, petting a kitty. But unfortunately, we've been chased by a tiger for over 16 months. And so just imagine what that does to our bodies. During that time, there was very little chance for healing to occur. And so this is what our bodies are dealing with right now. The good news is that we humans have resiliency and we have the ability to recover. But I think in this case, it's not going to be a flip of the switch that makes us feel better. And as a lot of us in the medical system, we know that. I think it's going to take a couple of things. I think it's going to take time and a lot of self-care. So what is my favorite self-care practice? Segue to meditation. To me, meditation is a practice that calms the mind and brings attention and awareness to us. We have over 60,000 thoughts running through our heads every day, and many of them repeating over and over again. So meditation helps quiet those thoughts so that we can have more clarity, be more creative, and make better decisions. I started meditating when I was around 10 years old. My parents taught me mantra meditation, so we repeated mantras over and over, and that's how I learned. And I can tell you from firsthand experience that it got me through medical school and residency, and even the most challenging times of my life, and especially the last year. To me, my meditation practice takes the edge off life. I feel less reactive, and I feel more present. My day goes smoother, and I don't sweat the small stuff anymore. I feel very productive on the days that I've meditated compared to the days that I haven't. And I feel more just like myself is how I would describe it. So if you haven't started a regular meditation practice, this is really the ideal time. This is what's going to help us get out of that pandemic stress. I once read that there are 3 steps to meditation. So 1, pick a time. 2, sit down. And 3, don't get up. That's all it is. So the cushions and the candles and like my Buddha here that my grandfather gave me, they're all fine, but they're not necessary. Meditation is just a simple practice that's been around for thousands of years, and all it really takes is a little bit of time. And I just want to mention there's no wrong way to meditate. Some days are better than others. Even after meditating for 30 years, I have days where I can't quiet my thoughts and my monkey mind is going and going. But I know that it's okay, that I'll still receive some benefit. So the key really is practice, just as you would play an instrument or a sport. You want to continue to practice meditation and it will improve over time. Okay, shall we meditate? Shall we give it a go? Okay, so the type of meditation I've picked for today is Yoga Nidra, which is a body scan. Yoga Nidra is a deep relaxation of the body and mind. I will call out areas of the body and will pay attention to them and help them relax. So for this meditation, you can be either lying down or you can be seated with your palms facing up, and make sure your back is resting against a chair or on the ground, and hands can be either by your sides or on your lap. Okay, so why don't we begin? Let's go ahead and get settled and take a deep breath in and out. And when you are ready, go ahead and close your eyes. Feel your body resting and allow it to sink in. Release the world outside and start to turn inward if you can. Let go of the noises in the room. Focus on your breath and the sound of my voice. This is a safe space and you are protected. There's no perfect way to practice Yoga Nidra. Just be open to what comes today. Follow your breath in and out. If you like, take a moment to create your sankalp, which means intention for this practice. It can be a few words, such as I am at peace, or I'm open to receive. And once you have your sankalp, repeat that 3 times if you like. Now let's take another deep breath in and out. Start to feel the silence in the room. Let any thoughts wander away. If you become distracted, return to the breath and the sound of my voice. One more breath in and out. Now we will begin to bring attention to each part of our body. Place awareness on each area that I call out and allow it to soften and relax. We'll start with the feet and legs. Bring your attention to your right toes, one by one. The great toe, second, third toe, fourth toe, and little toe. Bring attention to the sole of your foot, the heel, your ankle, the top of the foot, and feel that whole right foot as a whole. Now up to the right calf muscles, the shins, your right knee, right thigh, back of the thigh, and feel the whole right leg relax. Go ahead and take a deep breath in and out. Bring awareness to your left toes, one by one. Big toe, second, third, fourth, and your pinky toe. The sole of the foot, the heel, the top of the foot, your left ankle, feel that left foot as a whole. Move up to the left calf, your shin bone, left knee, your thigh, the back of the thigh, and feel that left leg as a whole. One more breath in and out. Now move your mind to your organs and bones and bring attention to your pelvic bones and your hip bones. There's no correct way to do this. Wherever you think they are is fine. Your colon, your bladder, your reproductive organs, your intestines, your spleen on the upper left side of the abdomen, and your liver on the upper right side. The gallbladder, pancreas, stomach. Move to the back where your kidneys are, your right and left kidneys. Adrenal glands on top of each kidney. And feel that pelvic and abdominal cavity as a whole. Deep breath in and out. Bring awareness to your backside, your glutes, your lower back, your middle back, and the upper back. Your entire spine. Your connective tissue in your body, the lymphatic system. And take a moment to feel the energy move up your spinal cord. Deep breath in and out. Be aware of the movement in your chest. Feel the relaxation as you inhale and exhale. Bring attention to your rib cage, your left lung, your right lung, your trachea or windpipe, your esophagus or food pipe, the diaphragm, the heart. Bring attention to your heart and all the blood vessels attached to the heart. And feel the entire chest cavity, feel at whole and at peace. Another breath in and out. Focus on your right hand, your thumb, index finger, right middle finger, fourth finger, ring finger, and pinky finger. The back of your right hand, your wrist, your forearm, your elbow, your upper arm, and your right shoulder. And feel that whole right arm working as a whole. Now bring awareness to the left hand, left thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and pinky finger. The back of your hand, your wrist, forearm, your elbow, upper arm, and left shoulder. And feel that whole left arm. Follow your breath in and out. Bring attention to your neck, your throat, the back of your head, your jaw. Release all the tension in your jaw. Your cheeks, your chin, your lips and mouth, your nose, your left eye, your right eye, your forehead. Relax that tension in your forehead, your temples, your left ear, right ear. Bring attention to the brain and all the structures inside the head. Your third eye, in the middle of your forehead. And finally, your crown or top of your head. Feel your entire head and neck. One more deep breath in and out. Now take a moment to feel your body as a whole, as one unit with many functioning parts. And feel the stillness in your entire being. And if you like, you can send some healing energy to any part of your body that needs it. Follow the energy into any area that is unwell. See its powerful light. Feel its warmth. And stay here as it heals. See if you can sense any changes in that area. And continue to breathe. Now let that go. And once again, feel your body as a whole, as one working organism. How does it feel? Check in with yourself. How do you feel? Do you feel more calm, more balanced, Now take a moment to recite your sankalp or your intention one more time in this renewed state. And to close this ceremony, let's give thanks to your amazing miracle of a body and all of its functions. Give your body a virtual hug. It's time to return to our waking state. Let's take one last deep breath in. And when you exhale, let everything go. And start to wiggle your hands and your feet. And listen to the sounds in the room. And whenever you are ready, take your time, there's no rush. You can open your eyes. Thank you. Wishing you all peace and good health. And I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has.
Thank you. This was wonderful. I actually lay down. I think I fell asleep. It's probably okay.
Sleeping is always good. It's just your body getting to that really deep state of rest and relaxation. So always good.
Well, I love Yoga Nidra. It's a very profound technique. And I have a question. So there's tons of the samples on YouTube. Do you recommend any? Do you have your own that you can share with our participants?
I do have my own. It's on my website, and so I'll put it in the chat, my website and my email address if anybody wants it. I'm happy to share a copy. Mine is about 10 minutes long. It's a little shorter than this one, but happy to share that one.
Great, thank you.